let's start because there were rumors of City revival, sort of little teeny tiny rumors, and then this kind of shuts the door on it as well. I mean, I think psychologically,
Yeah.
it's not so much a chance is created and whatever, but 5-1's heavy.
Yeah, it is a humiliation, really. There's no other way, Gab, to put it. And the first half was not too bad, to be fair, especially considering the fact that they conceded a goal so early on a massive mistake. To come back and into the game in a way, and to then equalize at the start of the second half, but then to collapse in the way they did after that goal they scored, which, by the way, is the only shot they had in the whole of the second half. Not just on target, in everything, just one shot. It was ridiculous how bad they were, how lacking everything. They really were. They just had no fight in them. They had no control. There was just nothing in that second half, which is really, really worrying, I think.
See, I think you hit the nail on the head there, right? And I was talking about performance as opposed to results. We can look at the 5-1 and it's a big score line, fine. But ultimately those chances or those goals that came in the second half, the Nwaneri one was in garbage time and it was an unbelievable individual effort. You can't legislate against that. Partey as well. With all due respect, the ball could have probably gone anywhere.
Yeah.
Like even if Arsenal had won 2-1, let's say, that one shot on goal in the second half is a thing that would keep you up at night if you're Pep Guardiola, where you would ask, what is going on?
Yeah. And I think because we said he has looked lost a lot of this season, to be fair, especially since the collapse. I thought he looked lost yesterday, but on top of it, the players really didn't help him either. And I know he was probably short of options, kind of, on the bench because the injured players are coming back. But he's right to say, like, when you give up all that control, when you make the mistakes that they made, when you play that way they play with the lack of intensity that they had in that second half, you just, whoever you are, whatever level you play, you just can't win anything. You can't do, and especially against a team like Arsenal who were really on it, who had everything going their way. Pretty much every flick was going their way, every deflection was going their way. And I think for me, the 1 year ago, you're right. It's in at the time it's 93rd minute.
Ridiculous goal.
True,
Like,
because
so good.
It's 36 passes. Every Arsenal player touches the ball. It's 2 minutes of possession with City not even getting close to the ball, and that shows. I know the game is over already. They've lost, and they're probably a bit. Their minds are gone. Everything, but still, you let the opposition humiliate you like that for 2 minutes. You don't touch the ball. You run after the ball everywhere, and you end up by conceding another goal. It's just not acceptable, I think.
I think it's easy to go and talk about players like Akanji, like Ortega. Of course, he was in goal for Ederson, who was a late scratch in this game. But I also think you pay your big players more money because they're supposed to produce more. And I thought Foden and Bernardo Silva, to me, were the two most disappointing because in this context, or with De Bruyne apparently incapable of starting, those two guys are the guys you're supposed to look to for leadership in this context. And I thought Foden was a ghost in this game.
He was, completely.
And Bernardo Silva overrun left and right continuously.
Yeah, I mean, for Bernardo, his legs are gone. We've said that many times on the show before through the whole season. And when you play him, so the players didn't help Pep. I don't think Pep is helping the players because to play Bernardo in that position in a game like this, when Partey is in really good form, Rice was, for me, the man of the match in this game. Then you know that there's a lot of chances that Bernardo is going to be outrun and he's going to be outplayed because he just can't keep up anymore. And then you put him in that position and you know he's going to struggle. And what happens?
And who's the alternative to Bernardo Silva?
Yeah, I know, because Gundogan would have been the same.
Exactly.
But Pep Guardiola has paid a lot of money to find solutions, and this season he has never found any solutions.
That's rough. I want to touch upon Miles Lewis-Skelly and this business. I don't have a problem with the aggro back and forth.
Yeah.
I am a little bit old school about the rookie versus the veteran, mocking the veteran like this. You have no issue with this.
No, it's different. Mikel Arteta is like you, and I think there will be a lot of people like you, which I understand. I'm like, this is all good. You give it, you take it. You know, like I'm from Paris, we do it every time, everywhere, all the time, whether you were the winner or the loser, whether you win a lot or you've won a lot, whether you're young or old, this is what you do. You give it
taunt
strong.
Your opponent.
But
all right. Just be careful because somebody else may be less accommodating next time around. All right, Jules, I'm going to get to City because they've got a really rough period coming up. But I think we need to celebrate Arsenal a little bit more at this stage. Because let's not forget, there's no Bukayo Saka. Right?
Yeah.
What has been my criticism of Arsenal over and over again? They either score on set pieces or through the Odegaard Saka chain.
Yeah.
Hey, look, this time they found the plan C.
Yeah.
And it involved a lot of pressing, especially early on. It's not just the first goal, but it's also the chances that they didn't convert. And they looked like, even in the first half, where it was a lot more back and forth, but they were rattling this back four. And I go back to Kai Havertz, the best on earth. I think Arsenal really dodged a bullet in not signing Ollie Watkins. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't have signed somebody else.
Yeah, because they're short in bodies for sure.
They're short in bodies.
Yeah.
This guy is not a cyborg. He just plays that way. He's played almost every minute of almost every game this season. And should something happen to him, you are up Spit Creek without a paddle. Like you're in serious, like in terms of like the next injury to screw Arsenal up of the players who are out there. So excluding Saka, it's Saliba and it's him. Maybe even more than Odegaard, because you can replace with Odegaard with somebody worse than him. You cannot replace Kai Havertz.
No, you're right. You're right, and we understand the debate, and you and I agree. We've discussed a lot, not just because we like Kai Havertz, but also because
you know what? We like Kai Havertz. As a footballer, I appreciate him. As a person, he looks like something that rhymes with trick and begins with a P. And he plays nasty. He sometimes plays dirty. He's not. I'm sure he's a lovely person. I have not spent enough time with him to be able to judge that. But it's not like I like him because I think he's handsome or lovely. No.
I mean, you like.
He does not seem like a lovely person. But I would want him on my team every day of the week, as long as there's other people scoring goals.
Yeah, he's a lovely person as well. And yes, there's that chance he misses yesterday, halfway through the first half, where he's on his own in front of goal, and really he should score. I know that. And he has too much time to think. And when he has too much time to think, I think that's to his own detriment. And you see with the goal that he ends up scoring later in the game, where there's not time to think, then he's clinical. It's fine. He's just not built like that, I think, and he plays in a position that is, again, it's not really his position. And people who want the number 9 at Arsenal, who want Ollie Watkins or Gyökeres or Osimhen, whoever you want, good. But those people don't also do the rest of the work that Kai Havertz is doing in terms of, well, with the ball already to start with, because he's such a smart player and high football IQ he has. But all the work rate, all the work that he does, the work rate that he puts in every game, there's that chance for Martinelli in the second half where he's the one recovering the ball halfway through his own half, and he's there as well on the counter-attack in case the ball would have bounced off Ortega into his feet. So it's just, I think, is amazing to have as a pressing machine, counter-pressing machine, everything. The leadership in that team is great. And it seems that even Arsenal fans, or some of them, don't see it. And I just don't understand, Gabby, because you might want somebody more clinical, like a Haaland type of number 9. Okay, but that will take a lot. A guy like that would not have a lot of what Havertz brings to this team. And I think that would be a problem for Arsenal.
Look, in the end, football's a team game, right? So it matters if Arsenal struggle to score goals overall.
Yeah,
you have to look at the total number of goals that they score. And I think it has been a little bit of an issue, which is why they're not challenging Liverpool for the title this season. Part of the reason why. But then again, when everybody's fit, Odegaard can score goals. Saka can score goals. Yeah. Martinelli has scored goals in the past.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What I do wonder about, and I go back to this, I think they would really benefit from having another center forward there. Just to give him a break, to give it something different. Maybe in certain situations you play with him, especially with Gabriel Jesus, who, not exactly a goal machine, but with him being out,
absolutely,
you really are short there. We're recording this on Monday morning. The transfer window is still open. Arsenal tend not to do things quietly because, you can just go to the Daily Ornstein and generally get a preview of what's happening. It seems like, though, there's tumbleweed. Can you explain the logic? And again, we might be proven wrong if they go and sign somebody on loan or whatever. I'm curious about actually the concept, right? If you don't want to commit a lot of money because you don't have a lot of money because you spent all this money on Rice and Havertz and whatever, that's fine. But a body on loan, is that really not something that is that something they wouldn't contemplate, that Arteta wouldn't
No, I
contemplate?
think it's just hard to find the player of the caliber that they want on loan.
Let me help you. Dusan Vlahovic
Would Dusan Vlahovic go on loan?
for 6 months.
Yeah.
If you pay him when he's not when he has to sit on the bench behind freaking Randall Colomwani,
Yeah.
and he gets a Premier League shop window. When there's
Yeah,
people
maybe.
like
Because I think
Marcotti,
they've tried. I think they've tried. I'm not sure they
Okay,
tried.
I'm not
Vlahovic, but I
saying
think
him
they've
to-
tried.
but
this
just
option.
a body, just
Yeah,
somebody,
yeah, I know.
even somebody who's Eddie Nketiah level on loan, yeah, just to fill
Yeah.
those minutes.
Yeah. No. I hear you. I think they looked. I think they tried even before Watkins or the number 9s. I think Matistel right now, as we record on Monday morning, is the. If there was an option that could come on the table and could be done before Monday night, right now it would be him. Something might develop in the afternoon, and
But this I don't understand. You need a consummate goal scorer, right? We
I know,
talked
but
about
you mentioned
Matistel
Eddie
last.
Nketiah. Eddie Nketiah is not a clinical
No,
goal
that's
scorer.
fine. But at least he's a center forward who makes center forward
Yeah,
movements.
true.
You were telling me Matistel is a second striker.
Yeah.
That's presumably his best position.
Because he's very good technically to just be a number 9, but
So
he
is
can be
Kai
a number
Havertz.
9 as well. Yeah, no, exactly, absolutely. But if you look for a target man, yeah, that's not Matistel. But maybe they just don't. Maybe they want more versatility. And somebody like Tell, I'm not saying that they're going to sign Tell 100%, but somebody like Tell can play instead of Saka on the right wing, on the left wing for Trossard or Martinelli, with Havertz instead of Havertz. And yeah, he hasn't scored 250 goals in his career. He's only 19 years old. He's got limited experience, and I get that. But
It's a
there's that
different profile.
versatility that you might not have with, I don't know, let's say, because producer Freddie was talking about Mateta earlier. Jean-Philippe Mateta, I love
Boom,
him.
boom,
He's
boom.
Paris born and bred, boom, boom, boom. But Mateta is a number 9, old school.
Right.
This is it. That's what he does. And maybe Arsenal want a bit more versatility for that player. So I don't know.
All right, let's go back to City. Upcoming fixtures include, but are not limited to, Newcastle United, Liverpool, Real Madrid home and away in the Champions League, Spurs, and then Nottingham Forest, who, let's all laugh at Forest. 7 goals. Hortzler, who's laughing now.
Yeah.
This is a tough run. Part of me, until very recent, would have said, it's a tough run. It's a great opportunity to get points because the players will be motivated, and some of these guys are kind of, direct competition for certainly Newcastle and Forest anyway, Spurs not so much, direct competition for top 4. It's a wonderful opportunity. Now I look at this, and even Real Madrid without, I don't know if Rudiger is going to be fit. That's very much touch and go.
Yeah, touch and go.
I look at this and I say, this is kind of where this season could unravel, potentially.
Absolutely. I mean, it's simple. You just have to look at the games of that caliber that they've played so far this season. Even the one they played at home to Forest when they won 3-0, they could have been 2-1 down at halftime easily in that game. In the Champions League, let's remind everybody that so far they've beaten Bruges, Slovan Bratislava, and Dinamo Zagreb, or another bad team. That's it. That's all. In 8 games, that's all they were able to be. Against Arsenal, they played with 11 against 10 in the reverse fixture at the Etihad. They were lucky to draw that game. Against Liverpool, let's not go there. In the derby against Manchester United, and Manchester United are not even a team as good as the one that we mentioned: Newcastle, Forest, Real Madrid, Liverpool, etc. Like they can't rise up to the occasion every time they play a big team. This has not been possible this season. And yeah, they beat Chelsea, but even that last week.
This is what I find so mysterious about kind of what the master plan is, because the signings that they made, and they spent a lot of money on Vitor Reis, Husanov, and
130 million,
and Marmoush, right? If you break it out, of those 3 guys, the only one you would expect to have an instant impact, potentially, but even then, there's a million doubts because it's his first good season and whatever, and where do you play him, is Marmoush, who I thought, I mean, I'm not saying he was part of the problem against Arsenal, but he certainly wasn't part of the solution either.
I didn't even notice him playing.
I mean, he looked way out of sorts.
Yeah, completely.
So it's like, are these players being signed for the future? Is this how you want to serve Pep Guardiola in what could be his final season? I know he said he's staying another year, but he also
absolutely.
said, depending on the trial, they're not going to be his friends anymore and whatever.
Yeah.
is this where you want to be in terms of finishing strong, qualifying for the Champions League, balancing or coming closer to balance your books in case you want to move on and sell the club or whatever? I don't understand. I'm assuming Hugo Viana made these signings, even though he's
not there yet.
Salaries paid by somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
I just don't follow the master plan here. There's no question they need a refresh.
Yeah, true.
But you do a refresh with a manager who could be leaving?
Yeah, and also with players like, Marmoush a bit different maybe, although there's still a question mark over the one season wonder syndrome kind of thing. Really, we don't know. But certainly for Kusanov and Vitore, like, are they for now? But you're right. If they are for next season, why are you not strengthening your team now for like making sure to finish? One of my children yesterday said, imagine City qualify for the Conference League next season. Like, I would forfeit it if I was them. Why would City play in the Conference League? I guess you play your reserve team, your under 21s, a bit like Chelsea are doing, and you play a lot of kids to give them. But City in the Conference League, even City in the Europa League would be humiliating, I think.
Be humiliating, but remember, next season there could be no De Bruyne. There will be no Kyle Walker, I would imagine. I don't think they're taking him back, no matter what happens at Milan. There could be no Bernardo Silva.
That's true.
Gundogan, you want to move out of the picture.
Yeah.
Rodri will be back after a year out. You have no idea what condition he'll be in.
Yeah.
Stones, another perpetual question mark.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of surgery to do there on this team in the summer as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're trying to attract players and I think this is the challenge for them in the summer, you're trying to attract players when we think they'll be appealing or the Premier League will be appealing, whatever the tribunal decision of 130 charges. True. If they're also not in the Champions League at that stage, does it then become tougher to attract players?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Would you go there if you say, oh, wait, but this team could be relegated,
and
I'm not in the Champions League next season? Screw this.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. It's because usually January, we say it's a difficult market, but it's a market when you are in trouble or you have had a bad injury and you think, okay, let's go and get a good player. We would not have bought him now, and City are in that position. Like, ideally they would not have bought anybody in January if they had done the work properly in the summer, but they didn't do it in the summer, and they were so bad this season that they had to do it in January, and yet they go and bring a one-season wonder guy potentially, and then two very promising but still very raw and young centre backs.
All right, it's the new year, so I'm entitled to do percentages.
Okay.
6 points back for Arsenal. Liverpool have a game in hand. Percent chance Arsenal become 2024-25 Premier League champions?
70-30, is that fair? Is that
you go
too
30%
high for Arsenal? Yeah, 60-40.
That close. Interesting.
I mean, there's a Liverpool Arsenal at Anfield. Okay, so good luck to Arsenal to go there and get something.
I think potentially. I know it's the Merseyside derby, the game in hand and whatever, but I think potentially 9 points, even 7 points is a lot at this stage of the.
So what would you have gone 80-20, even more?
No, I'm not. First of all, I'm not going to disrespect Forest and the others. I just asked you specifically about Arsenal, so I'm gonna give Arsenal a 10% chance at this stage.